What if I told you that a single name, just one word, has been used for decades to claim that Prophet Mohammed was predicted in Hindu scriptures? That name is Mahamada, found in the Bhavishya Purana. But here's the catch: almost everyone quotes only 2 lines and ignores the entire story that follows. Because when you read the full passage, you don't just find a name. You find 10 kings who ruled for centuries, a moral collapse, a desert encounter beyond the Sindhu, a warning from Lord Shiva, and a figure identified as the return of a demon by divine order. So the real question isn't whether the name exists. The real question is, what does the text actually say when nothing is left out? Was Prophet Muhammad really predicted in ancient Hindu scriptures? This question has echoed across debates for years, often hinging on a single name found in the Bhavishya Purana, Mahamada. From that name alone, sweeping claims are made that Islamic history was foretold in Vedic literature. In the Bhavishya Purana, Parva 3, Kand 3, Adhyaya 3, there is a brief reference to an illiterate mleccha teacher named Mahamada, who would establish a religion among 5th-class people. On its own, this line appears ambiguous, even intriguing. It is often used to suggest that Islamic history was foretold in Vedic literature, but when the entire passage is read, carefully, completely, and in sequence, the story that emerges is far more detailed, structured, and far less ambiguous than commonly presented. To understand it, we must first go back to the historical setting described in the text. The Bhavishya Purana explains that in the dynasty of King Shalivahana, there were 10 successive kings who ruled the earth for over 500 years in total. So that's roughly 50 years per king. After completing their reigns, all 10 ascended to the heavenly planets. But after this long period of stability, something changed. Gradually, moral law and righteous conduct declined across the world. It is at this point in history that Bhojaraja, identified as the 10th king of this lineage, comes to power, approximately 450 years after King Shalivahana. Witnessing the collapse of Dharma, Bhojaraja resolves to restore order. He does not do this symbolically. He marches, with 10,000 soldiers, led by his commander Kalidasa. Bhojaraja sets out to conquer all directions of his realm. He crosses the Sindhu River, modern-day Indus, moving northward and westward, entering foreign lands. The text names these regions precisely. He conquers the Gandharas, corresponding to present-day Afghanistan, the Mlechas, identified with regions toward modern Turkey, the Shakas, the Kashmiris, covering Kashmir and parts of present-day Pakistan, as well as the Nauravas and Sathas. After crossing the Sindhu, he subdues the Mlechas in Gandhara and the Shathas in Kashmir, seizes their treasures, and punishes them according to royal law. It is in these western lands, beyond India, across the Sindhu, and into the desert regions, that the pivotal encounter takes place. Verses 7 and 8 describe how Aryan King Bhojaraja, now far from India, meets a man named Mahamada, accompanied by his followers. Mahamada is explicitly described as the preceptor of mleccha-dharma, the religion of the mlechas. Some claim this figure to be Prophet Mohammed. But observe what the king does next. Bhojaraja does not accept Mahamada's teaching. Instead, he turns away and proceeds into the marusthal, the desert, to worship Lord Mahadev Shiva, who is described here as residing in that very desert. The king performs full Vedic worship. He bathes the Shiva image with Ganges water, and then offers panchagavya, milk, ghee, yogurt, cow dung, and cow urine, along with sandalwood paste, and worships with complete devotion. In his prayer, Bhojaraja addresses Shiva as Girijanath, the lord of Parvati, who dwells in the desert. He prays, "O Girijanath, who stays in the marusthal, I offer my prayers to you. You destroyed Tripurasura by subduing Maya, yet now the mleccas worship you. You are pure, the embodiment of Satchitananda, eternal existence, knowledge, and bliss. I am your servant. I have come under your protection." So what follows actually defines the entire passage. Lord Shiva responds, telling Bhojaraja that the land has become polluted by mlechas and that dharma, or righteousness, no longer exists there. Then, Shiva reveals a critical truth. There was a mystic demon named Tripura, also known as Tripurasura, whom Shiva had already burnt to ashes. But now, by the order of King Bali, this demon has returned. His new name is Mahamada. Shiva goes on to describe him as ghost-like in nature, an expert in illusion, and he explicitly warns Bhojaraja not to associate with him. This is not metaphorical language. The text directly identifies Mahamada as a reappearance of Tripurasura, sanctioned by Bali and operating through illusion. Later, Mahamada demonstrates this illusory power by claiming that Shiva has become his servant, an act that, for a moment, astonishes Bhojaraja, but enrages Kalidasa who, denounces Mahamada as a deceiver, and even threatens his life. That night Mahamada appears again, this time in a ghostly form, and makes a declaration. That, leaves no ambiguity. He openly admits that Arya Dharma is the highest religion. Yet he states that by divine command, he must establish a harsh, demoniac and adharmic religion for the mlechas. He describes his followers in detail: circumcision, absence of shika, beards, loud practices, consumption of all animals except swine, rejection of Vedic purification rites, and the use of musala instead of kusha grass, hence the name Musalman. He explicitly says this religion will stand opposed to Vedic Dharma. The narrative then closes with Bhojaraja returning to his kingdom, restoring moral law, establishing Sanskrit for the three Varnas, Prakrit for the Shudras, ruling for another 50 years, and ascending to the heavenly realms. Aryavata is clearly defined, and the Musalman people are said to reside beyond the northwestern side of the Sindhu River. So we return to the central question: is this Mahamada really Prophet Mohammed? The text itself does not leave this open-ended. It identifies Mahamada as the return of Tripurasura, appearing by the order of Bali, and acknowledging the superiority of Vedic Dharma while establishing an opposing path for those unable to follow it. This is not a judgment on Prophet Mohammed. And it demonstrates why context is everything. Isolating a name invites speculation. Reading the full narrative resolves it. My sincere thanks to Stephen Knapp for his extensive scholarship and valuable insights that make such careful examinations possible.